So this is my fifth fucking time trying to record this. I am really, really pissed off. I was actually recording 17 minutes with my last attempt until my phone fell over and it fucked everything up. But now, hopefully, fifth time's the charm. Um, I try to avoid any personal shit on this channel, or at all, simply because my main goal in life is to preach my political ideology and religion of cinema. And however, as you can already tell by the title, not talking about this would be incredibly fucking selfish, and I really hope that this will help anybody who sees this. So I have epilepsy, and it is, I don't know the medical term. I got a bunch of tests on MRIs, that kind of shit, CAT scans. I No one could figure anything the fuck out. I gotta see a new doctor or something. But all I know is that it's trauma induced. I had my first seizure when I was in high school, and that was because I almost got my lights punched out by one of my teachers. But luckily, they didn't punch my lights out as much as they wanted to. Um, but it did cause me to have my first epileptic fit. And I remember that happened on a Friday, and I came back Monday, and my school was on multiple levels. So in between classes, I'd have to run up and down multiple stairs and around different hallways. And I was already like 5 to 10 minutes late for class. I felt drunk, and I felt like I was in an MC Escher painting. I felt like I was Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth. And the security guards, they saw me, and I was running into random classrooms, even the library, and everyone's like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm fine. I forgot which class I'm supposed to be in." Luckily, there are these two particular security guards I was incredibly close with. Yeah, this older guy and this guy who was above 6 feet tall, and he was a fucking bodybuilder. So the old guy he saw me. He's like, "You need to go to the nurse's office. No questions. You just have to go to the nurse's office." I said, "No, no, no. I'm fine. I'm fine." So he had the 6 footer, the bodybuilder, said, "You gotta escort him to the nurse's office." The moment they touched my arm, it felt as though someone grabbed my feet and pulled them out from under me. So they had to carry me to the nurse's office. And they called my mom. My mom took me to my physician, and they saw I was. It just looked like I had a botched lobotomy. Then they took me to a mental crisis center, and within 5 to 10 seconds of talking to whoever the fuck I was talking to, I woke up and I was in the hospital. And my friends were calling me. My friends, one of my friends actually went with a mom to come visit me and check up on me. I stayed in the hospital overnight, and luckily the teacher who almost punched my lights out and caused the seizure actually came to my house and brought me a fruit basket, and they got fucking fired once I graduated. So that's a plus. However, and this happened like third or fourth marking period of my senior year, I enlisted in the Israeli Defense Forces. That was a dream of mine since I was, like really really young, and and also before then I was interested in enlisting in the National Guard, but I didn't know how it worked. So and when they told me it was like, I'd have to be there for 8 years, I was like, I'm already enlisted in the IDF, so I can't enlist. They were cool about it, but the same guy who interviewed me, when he found out, this drill sergeant, when he found out about my epilepsy, and he was always at my school. He was the one, like, if a student was interested in enlisting, he was the guy who was called and he would talk to them. So he was there all the time. He pulled me aside during one of my breaks, and he gave me real heart to heart, and it was amazing. And as for the IDF, um, once I graduated, I worked my ass off until the time came to go to Israel. So I went to Israel. Yeah, I flew all the way from America to Israel, and I went for my interview. And when they found out about my epilepsy, I was pretty much told no. And no. So, luckily, I got to spend a month just bullshitting around Israel, made a lot of great friends, and I just returned home. And I wanted to go to film school, but it was a little up there. It was pretty pricey, so I had to work my ass off so I could save up enough money for tuition. And it was First Institute, FIRST Institute. So if any of you know about it, you know they're cuckoo bananas. So by the time I saved up enough money to go to college, or for one semester at least, well, now it was $7,000. So, and now college tuition's more like $15,000 per semester. But anyways, I realized, damn it, fuck this shit. I can just make my own movies, and that's what I did recently. I'll tell you more about it in a later video. But so I came home and I was just working whatever job I could get my hands on, whether it was warehouse work, uh, mostly carpentry and landscape. And yeah, I just felt like shit. Number one, I was not living the dream as a film director. I never thought I'd be able to even pick up a movie camera. And also, not having served in the armed forces, I felt incredibly fucking emasculated. And I had my second and third seizures back to back pretty much within like 2 weeks apart, and they're caused from the same, trauma induced incident. And the less said about it, the better. But, yeah, it just forced me to take better care of my mental health. And a couple of my favorite things is, again, it being trauma induced is always caused by an individual. So everyone would be like, especially one of them was a family member. So everyone's like, oh, they're still family, gotta forgive them. I'm like, fuck you and eat shit. It's not, if you had a seizure, you would be whistling a different tune. But also, one thing that really takes a cake, and my mom actually said this, you have to learn how to control your stress. I'm not having a seizure because it's my kink. Well, it might be for some other people, and I do not kink shame, but it's not my kink. Yeah, how the fuck am I supposed to control seizures? It's fucking ridiculous. So today I'm actually making this video because I almost had an attack today, and it got to the point where I couldn't even drive. I was at the gym, I was working out, I'm a bodybuilder, and I also like to do a lot of army training simply because I was doing it since I was in high school because I wanted to enlist. So I wanted to be ahead of everybody else when it came to basic training. So I actually have this book over here on Navy SEALs training. It's programmed by people who are in the Navy SEALs, but I can honestly tell you it's a miscellaneous version. I never served in the Navy SEALs, but if I can fucking do it with minimal vomiting, it's a miscellaneous version of what I can imagine Navy SEALs go through. But I recently had shoulder surgery, so I'm getting back into the game of exercising overall and bodybuilding. So I was doing my Navy SEALs training, and I was halfway through not even halfway through. I was like a quarter of the way through exercising, and I couldn't stand up, and I said, you know what, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of the gym. I took my leather jacket, and I fell flat on my ass in front of everybody. No one said anything, but I fell flat on my ass without tripping over anything. And I did not drive, but I sat in my car, and I said, do you know what? I'm not going to risk it. So I called a friend to pick me up. He did, thank God. And then I called another friend, asked them if they could pick my car up. And this friend was a family friend. So I said, can you please pick my car up? They said, yeah. I said, and just, try to keep the secret. I don't want my mom to find out. I said, I got you covered. The motherfucker called my mom, but luckily my mom was really cool about it. So they brought my car home. It's here. I'm home. Everyone's safe. But it's a very, very unpleasant experience. And I was hospitalized 3 times due to my epilepsy. And also, aside from the IDF and the National Guard, I tried to enlist in the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force, and the Israeli Defense Forces a second time. And unfortunately, I was lucky, not lucky. I was denied each time due to my epilepsy, but still, it brought me to years of my life. And if I was overseas right now, I more than likely would not have had the opportunity to direct the short film I just did. And now another wholesome story I do want to share with you. I so for the Coast Guard and the Air Force, I had to call them and email them, and they told me through email, due to your medical history, we cannot accept you. But for the National Guard, since it's very short, since the National Guard, whatever you fucking call it, not the recruitment center, but the building or whatever it is, we have one here in Vineland, New Jersey. So I took the day off from my warehouse job and I went over there and they sat me down for an interview. And I had a female drill sergeant who was interviewing me and a private or whatever who was uh, jotting down the notes. They were interviewing me, asking me questions. And when I told them about my epilepsy, the guy just looked up, he dropped his pen, and the lady said, "Yeah, that's a big red flag." And she actually pulled me aside. She said, "I can tell just by talking to you, you are a bright young man, and the fact that you came over here goes to show you have great aspirations. Just because you're not in the armed forces doesn't mean, you're any less of a human being. You're an amazing person, and you have so much potential, and you can do whatever you want as long as you set your mind to it." And that was something really sobering that I really needed to hear. So, yeah, right now, as long as I take my meds every single fucking day, first thing in the morning, I'm fine. And also, it taught me to take much better care of my mental health because right now, we live in a very grinder society. Everyone is always on the grind. Having just wrapped up production on a short film in New York City, I worked with a lot of models and actors and actresses. It's a lot more romantic than it sounds. I literally just met them and shook hands, and I'm back home in Vineland, New Jersey. But I made a lot of friends, and I see them. They're always like, I'm working 2 to 3 jobs. I'm going here, I'm going there, I'm always out, I'm always doing shit. Everybody is like, everybody's going above and beyond the Call of Duty, especially college students, and it's very, very fucking stressful. But, and honestly, sometimes it's not worth it to go above and beyond the Call of Duty. And I think everyone really needs to take much better care of their mental health. Otherwise, you don't know, it could trigger epilepsy. And I'm also going to add this. My first experience with anybody who had epilepsy was when I was a junior in high school, and it was my math teacher. And for any of you who have seen that episode of Simpsons where Bart steals the game from the store, and yeah, and he had that guy who was in the Marines who said, "If you come back to my store, you'll be spending Christmas in juvie." He reminded me exactly of that guy. He was really, really cool, really nice, really fun, but he reminded me and looked exactly like that guy from that episode of The Simpsons. And unfortunately, I didn't have an opportunity to see him after my epilepsy, and I really wish I did. And I mean, I'm still in Violence, so I can probably visit my high school and see him because I'd really, really like to talk to him. And the one thing that no one really talks about for anyone with a medical disability is you every many people will see you at your weakest, below your weakest, and it is not a pleasant experience seeing people who people who you're usually really tough around. It's a very unpleasant experience having people see you at beyond your weakest. Like I remember a friend of mine in high school visited me in the hospital. I looked like Boris Karloff in The Mummy. I had IVs going in and out of my arm. I had my gown on, my nipples are showing, and his mom was there, so that was a little bit uncomfortable. But um, yeah, I'd have to say that's the worst part. The worst experience I've had with epilepsy is being seen at your weakest, and even at the gym, seeing people having people witness you not, falling flat on your ass, walking around like a drunk, and even asking your friend to uh stop whatever the fuck they're doing and to just pick you up and drive you home. But um but on the flip side of the coin, it does show you that people, even people who you barely talk to, they really do care about you. They will do whatever it takes to take care of you, and that is a very amazing experience. And again, the I'd have to say the one thing I took out of my experiences with epilepsy is you really need to take good care of your mental health, because it's not worth it having a heart attack, having um, and having anything else happen to you, you know, having an epileptic fit. So I know I was like rambling on and I made jack shit sense with this video, but I just really had to talk and I really wanted to get this off my chest. Anybody who's watching this, you are all loved, and your mental well being comes before anything else. So thank you all for watching this, and I'll see you all in the next video.